If you're interested in the true history of America, subscribe and let's figure it out together.
Mist swallows the trenches at dawn as May 12th begins. Spotsylvania's Mule Shoe salient looms, fear tightens every heartbeat. Here, destiny waits. Choose. Fight or break. You watch history unfold, uncertain who survives, certain only something sacred will be lost. General Hancock rides along the silent lines, his eyes catching faces pale with anticipation. "No turning back," he whispers. For Hancock, doubt is forbidden. I remember clutching my rifle, wondering, does courage mean obeying orders, or should I refuse this slaughter? Why care about one patch of earth? Men bled everywhere, but Spotsylvania erased all rules. Here, musket fire burned faces, and bayonets became keys to survival. Mule Shoe's blood-soaked ground forced soldiers and generals into choices none would ever forget. Winfield Hancock earned superb at Gettysburg. Here, he's just a man wrestling uncertainty. Should he risk his beloved troops in darkness or hesitate and risk failure? Trust the plan, he thinks, but plans drown easily in Virginia's midnight mud. Confederate General Edward Johnson smokes a damp cigar, staring at tricky earthworks jutting forward, easy to defend, dangerously exposed. He gambles. Trenches will shield his outnumbered men. Behind him, cannons glimmer. Did Johnson misjudge Union audacity or simply believe too much in luck? Union soldiers move ghostly, breath held through black woods. Their boots avoid fallen branches. Heartbeat betrays us. A young private mutters, palms sweaty. Suddenly, a picket's 3 shots shatter silence. The trenches come alive. Chaos explodes, no warning, no mercy. A Union mini-story. James, just 19, leaps into a trench, colliding with a Confederate. They grapple, mud mixing blood. Bayonets flash, but James hesitates, seeing terror in the stranger's eyes. The choice to kill or spare lives hangs in seconds. Johnson scrambles, shouting, pistol raised. He's struck, falling hard. His men blink, stunned. Their leader disappears into Union hands. Panic ripples fast, like wildfire. Mule Shoe's defenses crumple. In mere minutes, the landscape turns from fortress to carcass. Thousands surrender, cannons fall silent. Some Union officers laugh, convinced war is ending, uncorking champagne. Telegrams race home. Suddenly, victory feels fragile. Lee gallops into the smoke, refusing retreat, determined to claw back disaster. That moment births Mule Shoe's infamous reputation. General Robert E. Lee, face streaked with sweat, nearly charges the fray himself. Vets intercept him. Lee to the rear. One grizzled sergeant grips his bridle. "Only fools die before leaders," he mutters. Lee watches, torn by pride and dread. George's Gordon leads counterattack, gray uniforms swirl, rebels scream. Union euphoria vanishes. If only I'd prepared harder. Hancock wonders, face muddy, heart pounding. The narrative turns. Trenches flood with fighters. All certainty gone. Survival means punching, bashing, outlasting the relentless wave. The hand-to-hand fury. Men club rifles, hurl rocks, gouge eyes. "We aren't soldiers," a survivor recalls. Voice shaking. "Animals. Desperate. Those squeezed inside trenches know each second could bring death. Rain falls, mixing with blood, soaking the living and the dying. Water fills every crevice. Powder turns useless paste. Someone slips, drowning in 6 inches of filthy water. Bayonets dominate, rifles abandoned. A massive oak stands sentry, battered by thousands of musket balls. By nightfall, bullets have cut completely through its trunk. Mini-story. Harrison, Confederate, clings behind the oak. He fires, reloads, fingers bleeding. Bullets tear air. Suddenly, the oak collapses, victims entombed as nature gives way. If even trees die, he thinks, will Spotsylvania ever let the living escape? Hancock shouts fresh orders. Exhausted men hesitate. "Haven't we done enough?" asks Captain Wheeler, eyes hollow. Hancock's jaw tightens. "Enough happens when they flee, or we do." The grim logic is clear. Surrender exists only for the vanquished or the brave. Confederates, out of cartridges, wield shovels, bricks, bare fists. My bayonet snapped, I strangled a man. Confesses Sergeant Tyree, regret burning his eyes. Both sides find mercy impossible. Sometimes not dying means destroying another man with whatever's left in your hands. Trench horror, bodies stack, mud disguises wounds. I stood on the dead. A Union officer confesses, blood pools everywhere. The ground felt alive, angry. Fighting blends with burial. Every step means crushing a lost brother. Earth itself seems intent on consuming the living. Mini-story. Lieutenant Marston writes a last letter amid gunsmoke. This is hell's antechamber, he pens. Of 80 men, only 17 remain. He slips the note away, returns to fighting. The next bullet finds him. By night, Marston's words reach his widow. Unlikely kindnesses. A Confederate offers water to his enemy. A wounded Union man receives aid from hands he expects to kill him. For a moment, war pauses, recalls Private Allen. But then resumes worse because you've glimpsed the face of mercy.
Support the channel by subscribing. It helps us create new stories about the real America for you.
Grant's reinforcements stall mud traps, dead block cartwheels. Stretcher bearers collapse, hoarse from shouting. New arrivals blink at horror, hesitate. Vets bark, advance or die. Decisions must be made instantly. Either join the violence or risk being buried beneath its weight. Darkness falls. Flashes strobe blue, illuminating faces twisted by pain. You hear friendly fire, and enemy shouts sometimes hitting your own. Sounds become proof of survival. Noise kept me alive more than bullets. An artilleryman later confided, dreams haunted by thunder and flame. Ramsers North Carolinians endure at the salient's apex rifle barrels, sear flesh. Cloth-wrapped stocks burn hands. Ammo runs low, bodies provide more. The dead become supply cabinets, mutters Corporal Bell, a grim practicality you can only understand by living through midnight violence. Hours blur load, aim, fire, repeat. Stabbing replaces thought. My memory's blocked? Private Hendricks admits. Shock protected me. Lee's engineers dig new trenches under screaming shells. A desperate gamble. Will the shovels outrun Hancock's resolve? Only dawn reveals if anyone truly survives. Lee's men are ordered to start retreat inch backward, but keep firing. Don't run, fight steady, Lee commands, voice a lifeline. Hancock's troops stumble forward, battered, yearning victory but clawing only suffering. The salient empties as exhausted. Broken armies drift apart. By daylight, carnage is undeniable. Union burial details yank bodies from mud. They work 3 days straight. The ground's still bleeding. Graves swallow men and memory. Many dead are never named, only the living carry the weight of those unspoken stories. Mini story. After battle, the ruined oak becomes legend. Its lead-pocked trunk is shipped to Washington as a witness. Veterans count each embedded bullet. That tree saw it all, it never screamed, just fell quietly. An old sergeant tells his son, haunted. Grant praises Hancock, but something's broken. Was this worth it? Asks a dying private in a crowded field hospital. Hancock cannot answer guilt stings deeper than praise. Beyond medals, victory means listening to the screams of men who followed you. Grant's realization, Lee won't surrender under attack. Mule Shoe proves Confederates fight extinction, not defeat. Grant revises his plans. He must grind Lee down, not break him. Spotsylvania shapes Appomattox, alters the war. The cost will echo in every future attack. Mini-story. Chaplain Bell watches friends massacre classmates' West Point bonds meaningless, suffering shared. I lost faith in decency, Bell admits. For him, the war erased ideals much faster than bodies. Civilization is nothing but a mask, quickly discarded when survival takes charge. Haunted survivors emerge. Virginia private returns after war, silent, nightmarish, unreachable. His wife says blood fills their home, his mind trapped forever in drowning trench mud. Spotsylvania's legacy means living beside ghosts who never leave. Their memories, stronger than love. Wounded recount extremes, faces scarred, limbs mangled, men crawling for hours. Private Lockhart survives between the lines, listening. "I hid for 30 hours, praying for death or rescue," he wrote. Those trapped endured the longest battle not for glory, simply to live. North hails victory. Newspapers print tales of triumph. Back home, celebrations mask heartbreak. Sons weep in hidden corners. Daughters cling to fatherless photographs. Spotsylvania's truth slips beneath headlines, a gulf between mythical heroism and mud-drenched personal agony. Southern mothers fear bloody-angled telegraphs, clutch stained Bibles as funeral bells toll. Richmond reels victories bleed, not save their men. Each fresh grave whispers war's truth. Fields of glory always demand death as payment, and the bill comes in clusters. Both generals walk the battlefield, Grant, deliberate, Lee, stoic. Each looks at carnage, drawing separate lessons. Grant seeks new tactics, Lee braces for more pain. Right and wrong vanish. Only wisdom and loss remain after standing silent over Spotsylvania's dead. Mini-story. Veterans revisit Mule Shoe decades later. Enemies embrace, tears mixing. Nightmares linger, whispers Union Sergeant Riley. "We did something unending." Confederate Captain Holt agrees. "If you see ghosts in these woods, don't be afraid. They're just us, still fighting." Tourists photograph trenches. Guides mention copper bullets, darkened ground. Some spots remain permanently stained. Metal detectors buzz, finding battle debris. Visitors see relics, not terror. But the park's silence hides scars. The earth cannot always bury its traumas beneath grass. Historians debate, victory or defeat? Hancock gained territory. Lee held his warriors. Glory is blurred by horror. Only soldiers refuse debate. They understand Mule Shoe's legacy isn't markers or medals, but the life stolen from every man who entered its grasp. Rain, not bayonets, claimed many lives. Wounded drowned the trenches' traps, not shelter. Screams sometimes gurgled, barely louder than thunder. "I'll never forget that sound," confesses Corporal Taylor. Mule Shoe's nightmare existed on every sensory plane, sights and sounds refusing to fade. Unexpected hero Private Edwards, Massachusetts, alone for hours, holds ground. 17 Confederates fall. "Why not retreat?" he's asked. Hell was everywhere. Staying put felt logical. Heroes become pragmatic. Courage measured by stubborn refusal to move, not by charging into bullets. Failures matter too. Officers hide behind trees, break under strain. Colonel Barrett wept through bombardments, court-martial loomed, but some defended his humanity. Mule Shoe shattered minds. Cowardice sometimes means succumbing, not betraying. Battle judges harshly, but never accurately. Survival doesn't always mean bravery. Field hospitals collapse, screams, limbs scattered, whiskey gone. Surgeons become butchers. "I cut flesh, not healed it," Dr. Barnes admits. His hands never stop trembling. After Spotsylvania, dreams echo with saws, blood, and pleas. Medicine and mercy drown together in rain. Lee's battered men keep loving him. They cheer, believing leadership worth dying for. "He'll join us if we fall." Corporal Graves murmurs, rallying for Lee. Loyalty means more than tactics, more than life's strange devotion fueled when hope feels impossible. Grant inspires differently, respect forged by refusal to surrender. "He might kill us by fighting, but never through surrender," writes Private Collins. Northern troops follow because Grant pursues progress, not nostalgia. Each command is a promise: lose everything, but never your resolve. Politics shift. Democrats call it slaughter, demand peace. Republicans defend casualties, insist victory justifies cost. President Lincoln privately fears the loss, but Grant answers, "Victory comes now or next year with even greater graves." Calculated sacrifice means trusting tomorrow's reckoning. Confederate morale crumbles. Papers mourn, families grieve, churches bury masses. "We survived, but victory tastes like ruins," diarist Mary writes. Richmond streets swollen with sorrow. How long before winning makes survival impossible? Mule Shoe's price is paid by everyone still alive. Entrenchments revolutionize war. Future battles unfold underground. Open charges disappear. By June, Virginia is honeycombed with fresh defenses. Mule Shoe becomes blueprint. Strategies adapt. The 20th century's trenches begin here, designed by desperate men trying only to outlast Spotsylvania's shadow. Artifacts speak. A Union locket, a rebel's torn Bible, love letters never sent, photos of children. Side by side, these tokens prove casualties are always personal, never statistics. He carried me in his pocket, one widow whispers, clutching memory as comfort. A legend persists, blood-red rain falls. Scientists blame clay. Veterans swear it was true blood. Earth wept, says Sergeant Dean, voice low. Convinced that Spotsylvania's hell-infected nature itself, some survivors never stood in the rain again, fearing memory might drown them. Hancock's units are decimated. Ranks replenish with boys too young to understand horror. Seasoned vets pity those fresh faces, envy them. Too innocence is refuge. They're lambs for slaughter. Sergeant Ford laments, knowing haunted men crave only oblivion or impossible redemption. Lee promotes new generals, fast leadership drains away as casualties mount. Some succeed, most buckle. Confederate strength evaporates as minds and command splinter. Every officer lost worsens the wound. Victory means improvising. Survival becomes a battlefield, not just a physical struggle, but a crisis of spirit. Civilians flee farmsteads abandoned. Fields left to rot. Mrs. Carter returns weeks later. Hospital waste and broken limbs litter her home. Blood soaks floorboards. Unable to reclaim her land, she leaves forever, carrying Spotsylvania's scars in heart and memory. Grant pushes south. Lee matches. Battle resumes. North Anna, Cold Harbor, Petersburg follow. But Mule Shoe lingers here. Violence became intimate. Afterward, killing at distance feels easier. Only those who looked enemies in the eye truly know war's worst lesson. Courage redefined. Staying put means real bravery. Not running required far more resolve than charging. Captain Deere reflects. The angle forced men to conquer themselves, not by leading assaults, but by refusing every natural impulse to flee murderous chaos. Efficiency grows monstrous techniques perfected through repetition. Bayonet thrusts, rapid reloads, lethal aim. I learned to kill faster than I learned to think, writes Private Reeve. Spotsylvania's machine-like violence haunts survivors, transforming them into weapons with memories sharper than steel. Faith collapses priests, cannot explain carnage. Some men curse God, believing he watches wars for amusement. Others lose all hope for divine meaning. If God lived here, a chaplain confesses, he must have fled long ago. The war rewrote their prayers. But faith renews. Lieutenant Brady survives, convinced he's spared for a purpose. God protected me, he declares, shaping his future as a preacher. Spotsylvania's agony births new ministries, trying to create meaning from countless nameless graves. Art attempts remembrance. Painters recreate Mule Shoe. Poets write verses. Novelists struggle. Art cannot capture real horror. Survivor Marx insists. You can't paint drowning in blood or write the smell. Only ghosts of Spotsylvania understand the true cost. Spotsylvania's battlefield now lies silent. Oak roots creep through forgotten ditches. Grass covers, scars. Visitors walk paths, pausing at dawn for a moment's hush. Some say the trees whisper. Others believe the earth remembers. Only ghosts truly know if peace returned. May 12th revealed war's core. Civilization vanishes instantly. Learned men become primal. Mule Shoe was pure conflict, all that is noble and savage at once. It nearly broke Hancock, Lee, and every survivor. Where war happens again, those truths demand remembrance. Mini story. A photograph survives. Two boys, Union and Confederate, aged 17, died holding opposite trench walls. Found weeks later, fingers almost touching. They could have been brothers, a burial officer wrote. War's cruelty. Enemies die reaching toward each other, separated by inches and ideology. Hancock never escaped Spotsylvania. Politicians urged him toward presidency, but he refused. Ghosts follow me, he confessed privately. How can haunted men lead nations? His nightmares proved louder than ambition. Glory became his prison, not his triumph, a burden he carried silently. Lee's guilt consumed him afterward. My pride murdered thousands, he admitted. Engineers warned him the Mule Shoe was vulnerable, exposed. He ignored wisdom, trusting arrogance. Post-war, Lee taught humility at Washington College, trying to redeem sins no classroom could erase completely. Decades pass. Veterans gather at reunions, gray-haired enemies embracing tearfully. "Do you still dream about it?" one asks. "Every night," the other whispers. Spotsylvania bonded survivors across battle lines shared trauma stronger than shared victory. Only those who lived it truly understand its weight. Today, visitors walk preserved trenches quietly. Rangers recite statistics. Cameras click. But numbers cannot capture drowning screams or the oak's silent witness. Some claim hearing distant cries at dawn. Perhaps imagination, or perhaps Earth, refuses forgetting what men wish they could erase forever. May 12, 1864, taught one truth. Civilization is fragile, violence eternal. Educated men became beasts within hours. Moral people committed atrocities without hesitation. Mule Shoe wasn't an exception. It was war's honest face. Every conflict hides this potential. We simply prefer ignoring it until it happens again.
If you're curious to find out what happened next, subscribe. The sequel is coming soon.